In an open field, Michael stares at beautiful colors in the sky. Suddenly there's a shot and a woman screaming, only for Michael to wake up. That night Michael goes to the casino where he's been working for 3 months. By now he's learned the entire layout and the location of every camera. He's befriended all the employees by learning their preferences and their daily routines. He's also become very familiar with the regular clients. Being a good employee allows him to serve the VIP clients too, and sometimes he gets to hear confidential information. After his shift is over, Michael takes off all the prosthetics he wears on his face to protect his identity. It turns out he's a co-man and he's been working in the casino to get inside information. He's also been installing little engages in various machines and tables. After 3 months of hard work, he's finally ready to win some money. Wearing a different disguise, he enters the casino and uses his phone to activate a hidden gadget that makes cards fly out from a shuffling machine. Then he goes to a table where he uses his own magnetic dice to win, since earlier he installed a button that let him change the result. Next he enters the room of a VIP client, who is sleeping because Michael put a sedative in his drink during his shift. After the mess he created with the cards, the VIP players will be moved to the private room, so Michael steals this man's gold pass and his fancy clothes. Now Michael rushes to the service elevator and puts a chip of his own in the control panel. When the employee moving the new cards finds him, Michael pretends to be lost and tries to file a complaint as a VIP, so the employee agrees to take him to the right floor in the service elevator. Then Michael uses his phone again to make the elevator stop and turn off the lights. While the employee tries to get help, Michael changes the box of new cards for his own box, which he hid there earlier. Eventually Michael activates everything again and finally enters the VIP room where he sits at the main table with Alex. Michael also puts on special sunglasses that let him see the numbers on the modified cards he sneaked in. When the game begins, he makes sure not to win every round to avoid suspicion and make the other players bet more. Suddenly Michael's cards change without him noticing and he bets all the money he won so far. The other players do the same and Michael feels smug, however he's shocked to see his hand actually losing because they aren't the same numbers. The third player wins all the money and quits the game to keep it. Getting suspicious, Michael follows him down the corridor and takes the suitcase with the money from him, only to find random papers in it. Suddenly the lights flicker and the guy's face changes, revealing he isn't the player and Michael followed the wrong guy. At that moment the guards arrive and capture Michael while he watches Alex escape unnoticed. Michael is then tied to a chair in a storage room and a guard punches him before the casino owner Victor asks about the money. When Michael tries to act as a VIP client, he gets punched again, so he tries to explain that a different conman took the money. Victor doesn't believe him and gives him 1 week to bring the money back, or there will be terrible consequences. Afterward Michael travels to a plain casino in the middle of nowhere, where the guards keep him at gunpoint. However they step back when their boss Leon welcomes Michael as an old friend. While they share some drinks, Michael notices a necklace with a symbol that matches Alex's tattoo. He asks about its meaning, but Leon first makes him share what happened. Then Leon explains that there are people like psychics and witches who are born with the ability to dive into their consciousness, which is like a special room where they're allowed to pull off a supernatural activity. In Alex's case, it seems he has the power to change things that other people see. Using a book with drawings representing the legend, Leon explains that everyone in the world is bound by a collective unconsciousness and all myths come from there. People who have a special power can step out of their consciousness and enter the collective one. It's similar to an alternate universe that gives you access to infinite possibilities and all of mankind's cumulative knowledge. Normal people can also enter this place but they can't get out without a special amulet that works as a compass. Michael laughs because he doesn't believe any of this and Leon gets angry, so he gives Michael the book containing the list of people with powers and tells him to find Alex alone. The next day Alex meets with Gordon and gives him the money. Then Gordon reveals he has a compass and asks Alex to teach him how to use the magic door. However Alex refuses, explaining he likes working with Gordon and wouldn't want to lose him there. Gordon will need a partner he trusts to help him navigate. Back to Michael, he asks Leon about the people on the list and Leon swears they're real because he saw their powers himself. This gives him an idea. He could get the money by hiring people with powers to beat the casino. First there's Eric, a rich kid with telekinesis who doesn't want to work. Then there's Tony, a taxi driver who can control electronic devices. Usually he only messes with small stuff, like making the meter run faster, changing the traffic lights, or activating the police car sirens. Michael visits them both and easily convinces them to join a special team to get tons of money. Next there's Kevin, a hypnotist whose parents sent to a mental institution. The doctors make lots of money with him because he programs people to cure their depression. Michael visits him at the institution and convinces him to escape with him. When a nurse sees them and tries to chase them, Eric creates a distraction by making the other patients start a protest asking for better living conditions. While the patients block the nurse's way, Tony uses his power to steal an ambulance and open the crossing gate, so the group gets to escape. The following day, they practice how to use their powers to cheat at the casino and what gestures to use to communicate silently. Eric will use his telekinesis to move the dice, and in his subconscious space he appears moving the dice manually. Kevin will hypnotize other players or the employees, and his subconscious space shows him manipulating an ice statue. Lastly, Tony will have to deal with the cameras. When he uses his power, his subconscious space appears to be a storm with the chips floating around him. They play a few games with Leon's people and at first it goes well, but soon it turns chaotic. While Kevin accidentally makes an employee blind, a client of Leon's freaks out when he loses and takes out his gun. Tony gets scared and accidentally short-circuits the camera. Michael runs to tackle the angry client and calms him down before deciding they'll need a better way to communicate. The next day Michael attends at a funeral where a bunch of sad women are harassing Veronica, begging for her help. Suddenly a car parks nearby and some men in black come out. A terrified Veronica runs away and drops her headphones in the process, so Michael grabs them. When a second car with mysterious men shows up, Veronica hides inside an abandoned building and waits for the men to leave. Then Michael gives her back the headphones, saying he isn't one of those men. Veronica tries to leave without a word, so Michael follows her to ask some questions. However, Veronica can read minds and says she isn't interested in his plan. At that moment one of the men finds them and Michael holds him back while Veronica runs. The rest of the men corner her in an alley, however Michael appears on the roof and helps her escape. The next day Gordon follows Alex's instructions to get started on his training. A hypnotist finds him and quickly sends him to the world of the subconscious, where now Gordon has the power to control any person he wants. While Gordon is unconscious on the ground, he forces a street painter to make a copy of a famous painting. Then Gordon controls a museum employee and makes him trade the fake painting for the real one, which was about to be transferred to another museum. While the fake painting is taken away in a van, Gordon wakes up and buys the real famous art from the confused painter for just a few bucks. None of the people he controlled remember what happened. Back to Michael, he introduces Veronica to the rest of the group, explaining she can read and transmit thoughts. She'll be passing Michael's instructions to the others while they play. To practice, Michael tells her to enter her subconscious space, which looks like a very peculiar forest. Then he thinks about Eric moving the city's big bell, so Veronica passes the message to Eric's mind. After Eric does so, Michael wants two people to run while screaming for help, so Veronica passes that message to Kevin, who quickly pulls it off. Tony is told to make most of the lights in the area to short-circuit, causing more people to get scared and all the birds to fly away. Lastly, Michael asks Veronica to tell the people in the street that there's an earthquake coming. As Veronica passes the suggestion around, the combination of her words and all the strange things caused by the others convince people that there really is an earthquake happening. Everyone runs away until only Michael's team is left. Afterward, Michael steals some drinks from a restaurant while explaining his plan. They'll enter the casino with fake identities and each of them will arrive at different times except for Veronica, who will pretend to be Michael's fiancée. This means they need to go shopping for fancy clothes and see a stylist to get a makeover. With only 2 days left, the team finally goes to the casino. Michael plays while Veronica is the passive trophy wife, that way she can concentrate on passing the messages around. Tony takes care of the cameras while playing the slots, which he's manipulating as well. Eric is among Michael's opponents, making everyone lose on purpose so Michael can win. Once he's won enough on this table, he and Veronica move to a different one where Kevin is controlling the employee. At first the plan goes smoothly, but Eric is drinking too much and gets tired of losing, so he starts manipulating the roulette to win some money too. He also starts talking to Michael aloud instead of sending his thoughts. At the slots, Tony gets too enthusiastic and starts to control too many machines at the same time. The guards get suspicious so they drag Eric and Tony away, but when they're about to get in the elevator, the rest of the team is there. Kevin hypnotizes the guards to make them leave and the team hides inside the elevator for a talk. Michael scolds them for what they did and explains they could get killed for cheating. Afterward, the team agrees to only follow Michael's instructions and they move to the last table. Michael bets all in while Tony controls the camera, Kevin takes care of the employee, and Eric manipulates the dice. The plan goes well and Michael wins $10 million. Then the group goes to the beach to celebrate with drinks and a bonfire, although Veronica sits away from them. Michael checks on her and points out they could work together a few more times to get more money, but Veronica isn't interested. An argument ensues and they both insult each other. Meanwhile, Alex has dinner with Gordon and informs him they must cancel their lessons. Alex insists he can't continue to teach him until Gordon gets a partner. Then Gordon asks about Michael and Alex tells him about the new team. Gordon isn't happy to hear this and announces they'll have to intervene. The next morning the team is on the road where they're suddenly chased by an SUV. When the mysterious car gets ahead of them, Tony drives around it and tries to lose it, only for a second SUV to join the chase. In a matter of minutes, the SUVs surround the car and force Tony to stop in the middle of the road. Victor comes out with his men, who capture the whole team and tie their wrists up. Michael explains they have the money, however Victor is now more interested in their powers. Since Michael doesn't have any abilities, he's taken to the edge of a cliff and shot, so his body rolls down into the woods. The group is devastated to watch this and they hide in their subconscious spaces to grieve. What they don't know is that this is a trick. Michael is fine and taken to see Gordon, who turns out to be his father. Gordon cuts the ropes from his son's wrists and Michael freaks as he realizes his dad has been behind this all along. The guards hold him back while Gordon points out that Michael has ignored him for 10 years and this was the only way to get his attention. Gordon also reminds him that when Michael was a child they would dream about finding the special door, and now he knows where it is. Sometime later at Victor's casino, Tony, Kevin, and Eric are being forced to work as employees to make the clients lose. One afternoon when they return to their rooms, they find a plumber working in their bathroom. It turns out to be Michael in disguise, who notices Veronica is missing. The others explain she refused to work for Victor and she's been in a coma all this time because she hasn't left her subconscious space since she saw Michael supposedly die. That night, the lights flicker above the game tables while the guys surround Victor to announce they're quitting. The guards immediately take them to a storeroom and leave a newbie to watch the door, not noticing it's Michael. He frees his friends and then shares his knowledge about the casino to make a plan. Kevin forces a guard to use his keycard on the electronic lock while Michael uses a stolen key to leave the elevator stuck in the basement. The next corridor is blocked by lasers, so Michael leaves the guys to deal with it while he goes looking for Veronica. He puts on a mask he left there earlier and throws a gas bomb to bring down the guard, then he rescues an unconscious Veronica from her room. In the corridor Tony turns off a bunch of lasers, but he can't do all of them. At least now there's enough room for Eric to carefully move among them without touching them. He manages to make it to the other side and finds the casino's safe, so he starts using his powers to force it open. The lasers go down, but they also activate an alarm. While Michael reunites with the team the guards try to reach the corridor, only to find the elevators not working and a hypnotized employee shooting at them. The man is brought down very quickly and the guards enter the corridor at the same time Eric finally opens the safe, so the team rushes inside and locks the door before the guards' shots can reach them. Victor tells his men to kill the team as soon as they come out. Afterward Michael announces their plan is over unless they wake Veronica up. The others try to warn him that he may die if he enters the subconscious space because he has no powers, but Michael wants to do it anyway. Kevin then hypnotizes Michael, who appears floating in a white space. Important objects from his life float around him and he hears conversations from the past, reminding him of his mother's death and all the illegal jobs he did through the years, including the time he spent in jail. Veronica's voice is heard as well, calling him selfish. A door appears and Michael crosses it, falling into a big field with multiple door and beautiful colors in the sky. There's a storm coming so he runs to find cover behind a door. The storm quickly catches up to him and almost hits him, but he raises a hand and the storm freezes. With just a gesture, he lets it fall on the ground and cleans the field. Next Michael sits on the ground and concentrates on his memories of Veronica. Suddenly the ground starts bursting and transforming to change the field into the city. Michael takes the stairs and finds Veronica staring at the colors in the sky. When he tries to come closer, he finds a force field surrounding her. He pounds on it a few times while yelling, but Veronica never reacts. Michael then tries sending out his thoughts. This causes the buildings to go down and he appears in barren land under the rain. The force field is still protecting Victoria, but now she can hear him. She says she doesn't want to go back to the real world because there's nobody waiting for her. Michael tries to explain he's actually alive but she doesn't believe him, so he sends out the memory of the day they met. The chase happens again and when Michael appears on the roof, he tells her he only has her. Veronica grabs his hand and the duo is transported to the field with all the doors. They share a kiss before Veronica leaves through one of the doors, causing her to wake up in real life. However, since it's Michael's first time, he must find his own way out. A flashback reveals Gordon taught Michael everything about the subconscious space and that he wanted his son to be his partner, that way they could start a business together using the doors. He also gave him the compass and promised to send help. In the present, Michael sees Alex coming out of a door and starts following him as the area transforms into the casino. Michael follows Alex out and together they watch the scene of his presumed death. Alex puts himself and Michael in the memory while explaining how to access a person's mind. At that moment Michael wakes up in the safe and announces they're leaving with the money. Tony deactivates the lock and the door opens, but the corridor is empty. It turns out that while he was still in the subconscious space, Michael entered Victor's mind and made him believe the team had already escaped with the money. Victor told his guards to go after them, explaining the empty corridors. The team easily escapes with the money and meet with Alex on the beach. He says he has a proposition for them while a person nearby makes fire appear on their hand. 3 months later Michael agrees to do one job with Gordon before 2 hypnotists send them to the subconscious space.